Right. I've literally just walked in the house, said hello to my wife, said hello to Aiden, and said I have to jump on this podcast as I'm extremely angry, extremely disappointed after watching that absolute embarrassment of a performance. There was no movement, there was no urgency, there was no pressing, there was no winning of second balls. Players were hiding. It was an absolute shocker of a performance. And people can talk about we've finished sixth, we've qualified for the Europa League, and give me all this blah, blah, blah bullshit about six years ago we were in the Championship and all that rubbish. But we were playing a team that was 16th in the Premier League away from home with an opportunity to qualify for the Champions League. We had 9 days rest. So all those Villa fans that were talking and making excuses about, oh, we've had injuries, oh, we've had to play Tuesday, Saturday, you can get in the bin. Manchester United played on Wednesday night and lost the Europa League final. You would have thought that they were the team qualifying, going for Champions League qualification on today. They went man for man against us. They matched us up man for man. Now, there's two ways to try and beat that. You either try and win your individual personal battles and you make sure that your skill, your strength, or your intensity beats your opponent. Or you move them around. You try and confuse them with movement. Aston Villa did neither of those things. Our midfield was static. Our forward players were embarrassing. Our defenders were trying to play as if they were calm and composed when they had absolutely no calmness or composure about them whatsoever. So neither of those strategies worked. I'm sorry, but I can't forgive that performance. That was absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Hello, Sam.
Hello. Yeah, I mean, set the tone. Might as well go from there. Yeah, it's. I feel like we've done this so much on this podcast where we'll come on and say what an opportunity we've missed today. I mean, you summed it up pretty well. We played like shit. It was very similar to the Palace game at Wembley, where I think the occasion or what was at stake got on top of us. I think that we have bogey teams that we do not like playing. Palace are one, United are another. But I don't know what more has to happen. What possible situation we could be in where we don't go to Old Trafford and shit our pants. Like, how big does the gulf need to be between us and Manchester United? We were, nearly 30 points going into today? 30 points above them in the league? And even though that was the case, we just looked terrified of them. We paid them so much respect. A team that has, before today, had generated 9 points since January. 9 points in the league since January. That's nearly 6 months. And they have only managed to gain 9 points. I just don't. We have to take context. We have to put the situation into perspective. We have to put the season into perspective. We have to put the game itself into perspective because, yeah, fine, we started slow, but just mental individual errors. I've been looking at everything on social media, trying to find a way to ingratiate myself in everyone else's anger so I don't feel so alone in how pissed off I was at the end of it. But so little is being said about the fact that we played half of that game with 10 men. And the reason why we played half of that game with 10 men. Matty Cash. I mean, to be fair to him, that ball was only 30 yards too short. So, it wasn't, it could have been worse. But even then.
And he only had a player within 10 yards of him. I mean, it wasn't as if he could have gone forwards and just passed the ball normally or dribbled the ball forward.
Or use his strong foot, or use the outside of his strong foot. And then the ball falls to Rasmus Højlund, who takes a touch that makes Ollie Watkins look like Messi. I mean, it's taken him straight to the touchline. He's pushed it so wide. But despite the ball already being so far, Emi Martinez does his best Bill Goldberg impression and spears him to the ground like he's Boris Johnson in a charity match. Like, just so many things that in that moment, I'm so confused because I saw Martinez running out and I was like, surely he's not going to take him out. And the question is, the $1 million question is, would we have been better off 1-0 down with 11 men on the pitch or 0-0 with 10 men?
That's what I said at halftime to some of the lads behind me. I was like, yeah, what would you have take? What would you take? Would you take 1-0 down with 11 men or 0-0 with 10 men?
which is a crazy. But the thing is, I've noticed this, and look, I actually think Matty Cash has been all right this year. So I'm not going to pile up. I've given Matty Cash loads of stick. I've been saying I've been enough for Villa for years and years, but at the same time, I'm not so pig-headed that I can't give people credit where it's due. I don't think Matty Cash has been that bad this season.
No,
still made loads of egregious individual unforced errors. But for the most part, I think we look better with him than we have without him, especially when we had like Disassi and Conte at right back. I think he came back and he did a good job. But tell me if I'm wrong when I say every single time we play a game, they target Matty Cash. They bully him like an American TV show high school bully picks on that nerdy kid with glasses who knows too much about dinosaurs. Is it just me? Or is every single team got the exact same idea? Matty Cash. Target Matty Cash.
Yeah.
Play the ball on Villa's right-hand side.
Sorry, I can't pronounce that. I can't pronounce that. And especially after a few beers, I definitely can't pronounce that. But Cash is playing cowardice football. And that was exactly what the whole of the Villa team were doing today. Cowards football, the coward's way out. Like, he went to go backwards to Emi Martinez when he didn't need to. He had no need to go backwards. The whole game, we were trying to play safe. I can't even explain what type of football we were trying to play, because it was that summed up the whole structure of what we were doing, because no one was asking for the ball. No one was moving into an area where they could receive the ball. Nobody was trying to move the players around. Morgan Rogers, he got beaten by Dorgu a couple of times. You think, right, I'll try and move him into a different position. I'll try and swap places maybe with Asensio and see if I can scramble them around. Onana and Kamara, maybe they could switch positions in midfield, because we knew that they went man for man. No one was doing anything. And it was all just negative, safe, restrictive football, and that's exactly what we're doing. So that moment summed up exactly what Villa were doing, where Cash, he could have gone forward, he could have dribbled with the ball, he could have played it forward with his stronger foot, but no, what he does is he decides to try and play scared, cowardice football, go backwards. He makes a mistake, and you said it yourself. Emi Martinez had no real need to do what he did, and that summed it up. But the whole half, it was summed up by cowardice, just players hiding, players not wanting to get on the ball, players not wanting to call each other out. It was absolutely shameful. It was shameful.
There's so much to dissect about that. I think the first thing is, I cannot believe our starting position. I couldn't in my mind. Again, this is Man United, and not the Man United of old. This is the Man United of this season, who have just been so bad. Like, I watched them against Spurs in the Europa League final, and Man United are not a team that are going to be sort of scared of the occasion of a Europa League final. Like, they piss on that. It's nothing for them. But they just look so toothless against Spurs, and Spurs did a low block, but they did it well, and they did it having scored early in the game. We sat so deep against this Man United team, which I will say they played better than I've seen them play, not just this season, but for 3 or 4 seasons. Like, I was fuming at the Man United that turned up today, a Man United that was playing for nothing. Not even. Martin said in our chat earlier, he's talking about pride, and I hit him with what the hell are you talking about? Because I really didn't get it, because there's no pride to be had for Man United this season. They finished 14th, 15th.
Yeah,
they won nothing.
It's a hollow pride. It's a hollow.
There's no pride. Yeah. They're not playing for pride. They're just playing to piss us off, and they did so really successfully. But there was so many things about the game. I think, again, when Tielemans came on, I just feel like we had a little bit more in terms of like direction and playing that ball through. He was just calm. Like, Onana and Kamara are amazing defensive midfielders, but you see it today a few times. Onana kind of getting himself in a sticky position. He tries to run it out, and a couple of times he won a foul, a couple of times he lost the ball, and just kept turning the ball over, and no one was going forward. Even fine, if you're going to sit deep. But when we go forward, fucking go forward. Excuse my French, but go as a collective. You've got Morgan Rogers, and then Ollie Watkins about 70 yards away from him, and there's no one else. Asensio maybe, and this is the thing I say about John McGinn. I was asked a question the other day about John McGinn, and they said, "Do you think there's a place for John McGinn in the starting lineup next year?" And I said, John McGinn has a place in that squad, a place in that team. There are games where he will start. There are games where he probably won't start. But for me, someone in that team needs to, middle of that first half, when Masraoui went down and he was injured and the whole game stopped, John McGinn needs to get those boys in a huddle and give every single one of them a slap round the face and say, "What are you doing? What are you doing here? Because this can't be the game plan." I don't care what anyone says. Emery still has my unbridled trust. He's got tenure. I'm not going to question him. But surely John McGinn's got to get round to his players and say, "Wake up. Wake up. Everyone wake up. What are you doing?" And this is the thing. John McGinn is not that guy. No. He's never going to start like shouting.
No. He tries to do it from him putting tackling, but
he leads by example. When he's playing shit, that doesn't work.
Exactly, because he was way off his game today. And you're playing this, they're playing the 3-4-1-2 or whatever, 3 at the back. So you've got to get wide. You've got to have players who can get in the channels in behind their wing backs and the wide centre backs. And we just didn't do it. We didn't do it. It was, and what I can't get my head around is we're going into a game where we know, right, we can win this game and get Champions League football, right? Regardless of the other results, okay, we do our job, we win the game, we can get Champions League football. I knew from standing in those stands, I knew within 3 minutes we weren't winning that game. The mentality was all wrong. We didn't win a second ball. We didn't win a header. We let Bruno Fernandes just stroll about the pitch and just dictate the game immediately.
Break his legs early, break his legs.
Exactly. Put a big challenge in. show some intent. We were the team that could go on and win the game to seal Champions League football. If we'd have gone with the attitude of, right, we're going to go after this game and we're going to try and win it from the first minute, and then when they've conceded a goal, fair enough, because we could have said, look, we're going for it. We know we can challenge, we can qualify for Europe, but to put up that performance, I mean, they could have been 4-0 up inside 10 minutes.
Honestly, I genuinely believe this. I think they could have won that game by a 7 or 8 today. I really do. I think they could. Like, we'll go on to the rest of the game. We'll talk about the referee and the PGMOL and everything. I'm sure we'll get into it. But no one can say that Man United didn't deserve to win this game because they absolutely battered us. And there's 2 things I want to say. And we're also still on the starting lineup and the way that we just a mentality. If you're going to set out the team to be defensive and do a low block and absorb pressure, why in God's name don't you play Tyrone Mings? What more does Tyrone Mings have to do apart from every single time he plays, we win, which is a fact, and almost every single time he plays, we keep a clean sheet? What more? It's fine if you want to play expansive football from the back and you think Pau Torres is expecting to have a lot of the ball, fine. You're the boss. I'm not going to complain with you. But if you're gonna sit deep against Man United, play Mings. Him and Konsa have a better rapport. They just play better together. So if you insist on Konsa, you have to insist on Mings as well. And the other thing I was going to say is we talk about Matty Cash, but I put this in our chat, so it's not. I'm not reacting.
Someone said they're going to unsubscribe if we don't explain why we. What did he say? He said he's going to unsubscribe if we don't. He's unsubscribing if we don't explain why we defended Cash. But I don't think we defended him. We just said he's been okay this season, but he was terrible today.
Yeah, I said that he's the problem is he's a liability. You need to go back and watch some historic podcasts, my friend, because I've never been Matty Cash's biggest advocate. You've got to give him props and say this season we were better with him in the team than with Disassi at right back or Ezri Konsa at right back. That's what I said. But I mean,
he was terrible today.
I was keeping you against your will, mate. But the other thing I was going to say is I put it in the chat and I said, I don't know why we're so heavy on the left-hand side. Everything is all on that side of the pitch, and their left-hand side was just. This is why Mason Mount. If you know they're targeting Cash, bring the play over, move people over. And we just didn't do it. And it felt like such a weird, like almost, it's like being in a boxing fight and putting your hands behind your back and trying to dodge and like trying to avoid punches. And it's like, just put your hands up, do something, go forward. And you talked about the forward line, but honestly, every single touch of the ball Ollie Watkins had today infuriated me. There was one where he was played in. First, he couldn't stay on side. The 3 opportunities we had to go forward couldn't stay on side. But there was one way he was played in. And finally, he was offside. He shouldn't have been, but he was offside. He was played in the middle. And by the end of his run, he was in the corner flag. I can't even, because I'm trying to watch my life. But how do you go from being in the middle and just 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 shit touches takes you to the corner flag and you're offside? Nah, I can't have it. I can't. And the problem is there's no plausible alternative.
Mate, the problem, I was chatting in the car on the way back, and it was almost as if we were talking about Watkins, we were talking about Rodgers, we were talking about Kamara. And it was like as if they were running alongside the opposition player just to say they were running alongside the opposition player. Like they weren't intending to make any tackles. They weren't intending to make a challenge or make it difficult for Manchester United, the player that they were marking against for Manchester United. They were just showing that they were doing their job, if you like, in quotes. They were going through the motions. And that was the same. That was what Watkins was doing. Kamara in the first 20 minutes. How many times did Mason Mount run off his shoulder? How many times? Like Mason Mount against Boubacar Kamara.
He's on the wing.
Like, I'm sorry, but Kamara was absolutely. The two in midfield were disgraceful today. Disgraceful. You've got to win the midfield battle. They were disgraceful. Rogers, disgraceful. They were just running alongside the players.
You talk about Mason Mount, yeah. Let's
running alongside
Mason Mount. He's playing on the far left hand. He's hugging the touchline. Who should
he wasn't? He was in the middle area. He was running off Kamara's shoulder.
I saw him on the left into the wide areas, picking that ball up on the left in the corner, down by the byline, swinging crosses in. And even if that is the case, who's supposed to be tracking him? It's supposed to be Matty Cash.
Kamara was on him. It's Kamara's man. Mason Mount was Kamara's man. I'm telling you now.
I'll say another thing, and I want this to always be the case. Keep the end of year awards till after the season. Don't sit there and pat yourselves on the back and suck each other off until the season's done.
Yeah.
Until the season. Don't be going 2 days before you've got a game against Man United and you suit and tie. Kamara came in a tracksuit. Cut all that out. The season's not finished. Get your head. We're still the most important game. The most important game for the trajectory of the club against Man United. It's a must win and a should win. What are you doing? What am I seeing Chris Heck giving awards out here and there? It's not finished. When you talk about goal of the season, there's still a game to play. Score the goal of the season in that game.
Yeah, to get us Champions League.
What are you doing? There's still a game I've got to be quiet because my kids are asleep. But I think the mentality. Look, we're going to look at the whole season.
Yeah,
we're going to go talk about the whole season at some point, and we're gonna. And I've calmed down a little bit, but from your opening interlude, it seems like you're still pretty pissed off.
Mate,
but you've had a bit.
I can't separate. I can't at the moment separate the fact that we've finished sixth and we've qualified for the Europa League and all that from the situation of the actual game in isolation today. And we've had 9 days to prepare for that game, and we turn up and we put that performance in. I can't justify that. I can't justify it.
No, you're right, and I think the problem is when you take the season in isolation and you say, and I saw who was it? I was one of the people who's always on Twitter. I can't remember his name. I can't be honest with him. He's like, if at the start of the season we offered you sixth, we offered you quarterfinals of the Champions League, we offered you semi-finals of the FA Cup, would you have taken it? And the answer is, of course we would have. Of course we would have taken it. However, that's in isolation. In the context, you've got Crystal Palace in the semi-final of the FA Cup. Fine, they went on to win it. They went on to win it well as well. But no, we should have beaten them. Context of the quarterfinals, PSG, I think they're probably going to win it as well. Do you know what I mean? We might lose the FA Cup to the winners, might lose the Champions League to the winners. But the Champions League, should we have done better against PSG in the first leg? I think it's harsh. I think quarterfinal is probably a good shout. But the last one is you finished sixth. Oh, fine. What did you need to finish fourth? A win against 16th place Man United would have put us fourth.
A point would have put us.
A point would have taken us above Newcastle. Would a win have taken us fourth? I don't know. Maybe
so a point would have got us Champions League in fifth,
and a win would have taken
us fourth.
Oh, I mean, the thing is,
no, it wouldn't, because Chelsea won.
Chelsea won. I think that's what I was going to say. I think that was true when they were drawing with Forest. Yeah. But I look at that performance, and I think the issue that I have, and I think the issue that a lot of the people watching this and a lot of Villa fans in general will have is there seems to be a theme when there's games that are super important, really clutch, have to take it, an opportunity to define your season, to change your season. That game against Palace, the game against Man United today, that first game against PSG, the game against Ipswich, the game against Nottingham.
We couldn't beat Sheffield United last season at home to take us top of the league.
I know, yeah, no, but I think that's true. But my question is, look, there's clearly an issue where these big games and the occasion, we're losing to the occasion. And I said that in the chat today.
Yeah.
I said, we're playing the occasion, we're not playing the game. And I said that in the chat after 20, 30 minutes, so it's not springing it up now.
Yeah.
But the question is, where does this come from? Is this inherent in Villa's DNA? Are we just not? Do the players hear the name Aston Villa and just not think that we are big enough to overcome by the pure essence of who we are, whether we're better or not? Do they hear Man United and think Man United are better than us, regardless of whether they are better than us? Is it an Unai Emery thing? What more does Unai Emery have to do to inspire these players to say, look, you are better than Man United. You should shit all over them. When we did our match predictions beforehand, I said 4-0.
Yeah.
But I also said, when we did the podcast a few weeks ago, you remember that guy? I can't remember what his name was, Matt or something, and he was getting absolutely slated for saying we're gonna lose to Man United, we're gonna lose badly as well. And everyone was slating him, and I said, I kind of get it, you know. I kind of get where he's coming from.
George said it a whole season.
George said the
whole
same
season.
thing.
The whole season.
This is a problem with Villa. We keep getting opportunities to take advantage of other results, of the hard work we've done all season. I don't care what anyone says. We deserve to be fourth this season. We deserve, but the thing is we didn't, because it's over 38 games and we didn't achieve it. But the way that we played this season, the way we juggled the Champions League, the way we juggled the FA Cup, the run that we've been on, we're the most informed team in the Premier League in the last 10. No one has taken more. We've won 9 out of the last 10 games, unbeaten at home. One game since August, unbeaten at home in the Premier League, unbeaten at home in Europe. And we can't beat Man United. Six, who started the day in 17th, at one point was in 17th place in the Premier League. What more has to happen for Aston Villa to it just doesn't compute. It doesn't. Not only did we lose to Man United, everyone could take a loss, but to lose in that manner, to get battered, to make them look like 08-09 Barcelona, to make Mason Mount look like a player who's played any football in the last 3 years, to make Rasmus Højlund, he almost scored a goal.
I know.
He
put it in the net, and he
couldn't believe it. Did you see his face? He was like, I can't believe what's happened. I don't know if you've watched it back. He was in shock. They changed right backs twice. They had Mazraoui, then they had Dalot, both got injured. Then they put Ahmed Diallo at right back. They put this 19-year-old skinny kid who doesn't weigh 100 pounds soaking wet. They said, you go on the left, mate. You go play right wing back. Villa are offering nothing. No one's going at you from it. Stop playing Morgan Rogers on the right, or stop playing him at all if he's not going to work. You've got players like Leon Bailey. You've got everyone say you saw Bailey. Who's seen him play? Give him a go. Play Donyell Marlon. Play Marlon.
Well, this is it. We needed a wide player. We needed a player to stay out wide who had pace, so you could make them worry about going backwards. We didn't have it. We had too many players that were coming inside, and then they just put the ball. They just looked. As soon as Fernandes got the ball in the middle, just switched it out wide to the other side, and we had too much ground to try and cover. It was a basic football. I have got a couple of super chats I do need to read out. Sharik in the chat. Game was over after 5 minutes. Bottlers. I said that, mate. I absolutely said that. I could see it. I think it was Fernandes won a header against Kamara or Onana. I can't remember. And it's just like, you can see from that mentality, if you're not winning second balls, if you're not winning the midfield battle, you're losing the game. And that's what happened. Adam said Adam in the 4.99 super chat. Thank you very much, mate. Legend. Needs to be said. Emery set up tactics and team selection. These big games need questioning. Bring back playing actual wingers. We've literally just said that. Like you said, Sam. If we've got Marlon, if we've got Bailey on the bench, why aren't you using them? Has the signing of Asensio, yes, he came in and had a massive impact, and he's had a couple of other flashes the last few weeks, but has that signing of Asensio affected Rodgers' game, and then in consequence affected his usage of a winger, i.e. Bailey or Marlon?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, you know this. I was always calling you out at the start of the season a lot for questioning Rodgers, and I just said it doesn't really matter if he's quiet for 30 minutes or if he does X, Y, and Z, because he makes an impact, and he's he'll win you the game one way or another, and he did. He kept doing it. Now he's been pushed out to the right, and I don't understand this. He's just such a good player at the start of the season. Been pushed out to the right, and I don't think it's a coincidence that his form has dropped off a cliff. Like I saw a lot of people talking about who should win the Young Player of the Season award, the Premier League one, not the Villa one. There's not really many different options for that. And I couldn't like in good faith say, do you know what, Rodgers actually properly deserves that. You know, even if you take the likes of people who've had more fleeting, I don't want to say names because then people are going to start questioning it. But my point is, Morgan Rodgers was sensational for about 3/4 of this season, maybe 2/3 of this season. And the last third, I don't know if it's a combination of Asensio. I'm damn sure that it's got something to do with where he's playing because he's not a right winger.
He's not a right winger.
He's a hustling, bustling through the middle, gain the yards, brush back, turn in the middle. Like, honestly, every time we've seen him turn in the middle of the park and just breeze forward. And he's playing out on the wing. He's quick with the ball. He's rapid with the ball, but he's not particularly quick off it. Do you know what I mean? Like he dribbles well. He's for a big guy. He keeps the ball so close to his feet. He's got such great control. Those aren't attributes that suit you too well on the wing, because what he wants to do is run past a player, not by taking them on, not by standing them up, but using his weight and his frame of motion to get past. I think it's. I actually haven't even had a beer, for me honest. I'm just. I'm like the Hulk. That's my trick. I'm always angry. But I think it was. There's definitely been a combination, and if I'm being honest, I think the reason that I know he couldn't have played today, but I think the reason why, you know, recently we've looked a little bit more toothless is the absence of Rashford, and I'm not putting this on Watkins. Sorry. This game today, although he was terrible, we didn't play badly because Watkins was crap.
No,
but not having that outlet or like
that threat,
even his runs today, awful, always offside. His holding up the ball, his first touch was diabolical. Just everything. Those are really the only two things you can ask him to do. He couldn't play, kept losing the ball, didn't pass it, wasn't onside, couldn't hold the ball up, wasn't, making the creative runs, not coming, do a Harry Kane, drop back a little bit, get the ball a little bit deeper, pass, give and go, give and then turn, go on the shoulder, just get involved, do something. It's just, I don't even know where he plays.
No.
Like, I was watching him on the pitch. Was he playing left wing? Was he playing up front?
This was the thing about the whole of that first half. And when you go down to 10 men, you're trying to fight and stay in the game. And as Emery said, try and show some resilience. So there's an element of just trying to stick in it and sort of keeping your shape then and trying to nick something or do something. But certainly in that first half, like you said, no one was doing any type of different movement. Watkins wasn't like pulling Maguire out from the middle to then make someone be able to run in behind him, or Rodgers wasn't coming in from that right-hand side into the middle to then let someone make the run in behind him, or Asensio wasn't switching with Onana or Kamara to come through the middle. Then the other two dropped deeper. So Asensio's got the ball in that space. Kamara and Onana weren't switching across to cause a little bit of confusion with the two players that were marking them. There was nothing. There was literally no movement whatsoever. And that was just so baffling to me. And like, is that down to players not taking responsibility on the pitch? Is that down to being too scared to go against what Unai Emery's told them to do? Like, you have to play with some sort of personality within the game. You have to react to the situation. Maybe Emery didn't think that Manchester United would go man for man, literally man for man against us. But when that happens, you then got to go, right, lads, let's do something about this. Like, let's try and move them around a little bit. We're the ones who can try and win this game. If we can use our skill, our confidence, our strength, our ability, then we'll maneuver these into different spaces and we'll be able to create chances. I don't think we had a shot until, was it 70 odd minutes when McGinn put one wide? Like, what was going on?
No, it was really toothless, and I can only imagine that for the most part, at least in terms of starting position, that they were doing what they were told to do. Because if Unai Emery's on the side and he says push up, everyone's moving forward because he commands that kind of respect. He must have been. But what I don't understand is when we go 1-0 down, fine, the Rodgers goal that never was.
Well, we'll talk about that in a second.
We'll talk about that. And then you get the Diallo goal. Again, I don't know how he makes that ball. He's 5'9". I know that Ian Matson's not so tall, but just jump, for the love of God, jump for the ball and know where he is. Anyway, we go 1-0 down, right? We go 1-0 down. Change the way you approach the game. It doesn't matter if we lose 2-0 or 3-0. There's 10 minutes left, right? 15 minutes left in the game. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if we lose. Our goal difference is already in the bin. We're not going to finish any lower than 7th. Go for it. Just do something. And this idea of we had a minute left. We had a minute left in the game. Not a minute. Sorry, it was at the start of extra time. We had a few minutes left, and Robin Olsen, I swear to God, I counted. And when the ball went out, it was a goal kick. He took 45 seconds to take the goal kick. We have got 6 minutes left in the game of our lives. Are you mental? I swear to God, he's already leaving, so I'm not going to call him out on it. But honestly, I was tempted to drive to Manchester and just give him a slap and just say, what in God's name have you done to earn the right to take 45 seconds to take a goal kick? Who do you think? 45 seconds when we are 2-0 down against the clock and we need something to happen? Because stranger things have happened, right? Stranger things have happened than 2 goals in 4 or 5 minutes. Get the ball up there. Everyone move up. Do something. Just do something different.
Put Conser up front.
If they're getting away with putting Harry Maguire.
Yeah, I know.
He was twisted. He might as well have been Harry Kane the way he was twisting us up. Little rolled the ball backwards, little nutmeg, chipping. Have I lost my mind? Just do something. Just react. Just I think this is your problem. If I'm being honest, I don't want to tell you what I think your issue is, but I think that the issue that you have, that a lot of other Villa fans will have, because I'll be honest, I can deal with the season result. I can deal with Europa League. I think we can still push on.
I will be able to in a few days, because this is where I predicted we would finish at the start of the season.
I think your issue is that no one on that pitch today seemed like they were ready to die to get the job done. No one looked like they were ready to. It wasn't even that they were ready to do anything for it. They weren't ready to do anything or something for it. I just don't think that urgency was there. And I think when you're sat in your seat, or when you're sat on your sofa and you're clutching at the armrest, and you just want to see something, you want to see someone. You talk about putting in a challenge. It's not about the challenge. It's about the intent. What you want is you want to see that the players are bleeding for this and that. Even if we don't get it, even if we fall short of what we're trying to achieve, it wasn't through a lack of effort. And I think that's the problem. The problem is that today we fell short, but it seemed like we fell short because people weren't at the races.
Yeah, exactly.
That's unacceptable for a game that is this big, not just to the fans, but to the club, not just for football reasons, but for financial reasons. Even players who are here on loan, you might want to stay with us, and who wouldn't be able to stay with us. It's like if you're playing for your place here, there's so much on the line, and it's done. It's a fight. It's 90 minutes. Just leave everything on the pitch, and they didn't today. And I think
exactly, that's exactly right. It's that you've summed it up perfectly. It's the fact that we didn't leave. The players didn't leave it all on the pitch. They didn't, and Villa fans and people that were there, they're in the embodiment of what we wish we could do. And the least you expect is effort. The least you expect is 110% effort. And when I used to do team talks at semi-pro level, it's like you go out there and you put 110% in, not 100%. It has to be 110%, and that's the minimum expectation. And as I said to you before, it looked like too many of the players were going through the motions. Too many of the players were like, oh, I'm going to show for the ball, but I'm not really showing for the ball. I'm going to run and press this player, but I'm not really going to run and press him. And I don't know the mentality of the players, but maybe subconsciously, like you said, the lone players, maybe subconsciously, I'm not going to be playing for Aston Villa next season. Maybe subconsciously, a couple of the players are, you know what, I'm not going to be here next season. I don't know. I don't know if that's the case, But the minimum expectation is 110% effort. And we didn't have that today. I know for a fact that the Villa players that played today can't look themselves in the mirror and say, I gave my all for that on that pitch today. They didn't. They absolutely didn't. And that's the minimum expectation. And that is literally the minimum expectation from the supporters. Yes, you can lose a game. Yes, you can have a bad performance. But the minimum expectation is to put your 100% effort in to try and win that ball back and to try and win your personal battles. And they didn't do it. None of them, not one player on that pitch, put 100% in effort in to try and win their individual battles. And that's what's the most disappointing part of it.
And despite it, we still could have been one up.
We could have. We absolutely could have. And let's get on to that. I just need to shout out a couple of super chats. Carl says, Sam, we don't deserve fourth. That performance today is what this team has been before the Rashford signing. Playing 3 number 10s with no speed is bad coaching. And Sharik with another super chat. Thank you so much, mate. 3.6 million for Europa League group stage qualification. We are effed. Well, we'll see. We'll see about that. I see what we get this season. But yeah, you did touch on that. Guys, just want to say we've got over 300 in the chat. I don't even know what time it is. So thank you so much for jumping on and supporting the channel. But please do hit the like button. I know it's a difficult one. To go through this tonight. And I'm sure as Sam has maybe rationalized it a bit more than myself right now, but we probably will rationalize it later on this week. But please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We're on the road to 6,000 subscribers. I think we're about 350 away, so not far at all from 6,000. So please do help us by liking and subscribing to the channel. What minute was it? Was it 70 minutes-ish?
70-ish minutes, thereabouts.
Ball went back to the goalkeeper and he went to grab it with both hands. He put his hands either side of the ball. The ball then bounced out of his hands. Morgan Rogers comes in, taps the ball. It hits against his hand and his leg. Rogers then takes the ball and puts it into the net. I'm there jumping up and down cheering, but at some point, the referee has blown his whistle and everyone stops. He then books Pau Torres. And apparently VAR can't intervene because the referee blew his whistle before the ball went into the net. Talk me through that decision, because I've seen it back and I'm absolutely baffled. And it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good. And I've given all of the things about the performance, about it not being good enough. But that is a horrendous decision that at the time would have put us 1-0 up when Newcastle were 1-0 down against Everton as well. So, I think, you said it you articulated it pretty concisely. That the ball, it's an aimless ball, if I'm being honest. And, Rogers does well to chase it in the first place. Goes to the United keeper, who I've never heard of. Rogers pokes the ball through his hands. Legally, there's no foul. There's no contact with the keeper at all. The keeper doesn't go down, doesn't even pretend to, because he knows there's absolutely zero contact. And the ref, for some reason, whilst Rogers has the ball and he's got an open goal, so there's no question about, despite the fact that he blows the whistle before the ball is even hit, by the way, that's how quickly he's flagged it. He's not waiting for the linesman. He's not had a think. He's panicked. He's blown it. And Morgan Rogers scores, as he would have done whether he blew the whistle or not, because there's no one there. And the keeper's still scrambling, so the keeper's doing everything that he can. And what I don't understand is, and this is a thing, who was it the other day who got injured because Sian Massey, she didn't put up Awoniyi.
Okay, fine, Awoniyi. I don't care what anyone says. If it's that blatant, flag it, fine. In every other scenario, when there could be a goal and you think there's a foul or an infringement or an offside and it's debate, and you're not 1,000,000,000%. If not every single person in the stadium knows that it's a foul or knows that it's an offside, you wait. How dare he? Who in God's name does he think he is to blow the whistle at that time? It is criminal. It is tantamount to fraud. It's a £100 million mistake. It is. I've never seen anything like it. I've never seen anything so dumb and so reckless. We've already said, we spent the last 45 minutes saying how shit Villa were and how little we deserved the game. But the reality is 73 minutes into that game, we should have been 1-0 up. And there's no telling how that would have impacted the substitutions that we might have made, the way Villa played, the energy of the team, the belief in the team, the approach of the team. That is fine. We got battered, but at that moment in time, with all things said and done, it was 0-0, and we scored. Aston Villa have submitted not an appeal, a complaint to the league and to the PGMOL, and their complaint is not even about the decision itself. It's that Thomas Bramall, and I will say his name because I want everyone to remember him. And if you ever see him, if he's ever at Villa Park or he's ever refereeing one of our games again, you let him know. You let him know that he's a piece of shit, because they've gone to the league and said, this man who's refereed our game has refereed 11 games all season. 11 top flight games all season. And of the referees on the PGMOL's books, he is the 17th most experienced referee. Where in God's name were the other 16? Of the 10 referees that refereed today in the Premier League, only one had less Premier League experience than the guy who was refereeing our game. Why in God's name does the league think that it's appropriate to let a referee with such little experience manage and referee a game in which £100 million is on the line, in a result that could affect 4 other teams? Who in their right mind?
This is it.
It's fucking criminal. I don't care what anyone said. It doesn't matter how shit we were. What he did was criminal. And I swear to God, he can. You know how you offered that guy out for a beer at Liverpool away last year? He can see me any game over away, and me and him are having words. I swear to I've never been more annoyed at an individual. It's the worst refereeing decision I've ever seen as a Villa fan. It's worse than when Anwar El Ghazi got sent off for not slapping Patrick Bamford. It was just it's criminal, and I cannot state that enough. What he did was criminal, and there's no way that he did that by accident or that it was a mistake. I've never called corruption. I've never complained about the Big Six. And you know me, I always say I don't care. Oh, the pundits are not talking about Villa. Couldn't care less. But that is just such a clear, even if it's a subconscious or an unconscious bias towards Man United, it's criminal, and he should never, ever referee a Premier League game again, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing, right? So you have Bournemouth, Leicester doesn't mean anything. Ipswich, West Ham doesn't mean anything. Even Liverpool, Crystal Palace doesn't mean anything. Southampton, Arsenal doesn't mean anything. Tottenham, Brighton doesn't mean anything. Wolves, Brentford doesn't mean anything. Give him one of those games. If you want to give him a Premier League game, give him one of those games. Now, I've not looked through specifically who was refereeing each game, but like you said, the Man United Villa game has something big riding on it. Newcastle Everton, something big riding on it. And Forest Chelsea, something big riding on it. And Fulham Man City. So you got 4 games. Put your 4 top referees in those 4 games. Not that there's a huge quality, but Anthony Taylor, Michael Oliver, Stuart Atwell, like put the high profile referees on the 4 games where you've got the most riding on it. Not this kid. He's reffed 11 games. He's then refereeing at Old Trafford. And I don't care who you are. Old Trafford is still an intimidating place to go and referee and make a decision that might hinge against Man United. It is.
Oh, Rat Boy. I'll tell you what as well. Rat Boy had him on toast as well.
Yeah. Every time a free kick was given, he's picking the ball up. He's throwing it down on the floor. He's throwing it backwards. Like, Of course, you're gonna get in that referee's face. You're gonna get in his head.
I know that he has to ref a big game sometime at some point. Otherwise, there's not going to be enough refs to come. But not that game. It's too important. It's too important. A mid-season clash between first and second. Fine, if you want to let him cut his teeth a little bit. But it's so bizarre, and everyone and their dog. Even I tell you who I really like at the moment. What's his name? Mark Goldbridge.
Yes.
When he's watching it live on stream, he was like, I can't. Man United scored 3 minutes later, by the way, just to give you the context.
Exactly.
He said, I cannot in good conscience celebrate this goal after what's just happened. Even he knows that what happened to Villa today is disgraceful. Now, people will say swings and roundabouts. People will cite Sheffield United and they will. People will. Well, I didn't even see that, but people will say
someone saying he's from Sheffield, but I don't know if that's true or not.
You know what? I don't care where he's from. I don't look. I'm not gonna call to violence on this man, or I'm not gonna try and incite any hate. I don't want to get arrested or anything like that. But what he did genuinely was so detrimental to the future of Aston Villa Football Club.
Well, you said, mate, it's cost us 100 million. I said in the stand that decision. I felt like Graham Taylor in that documentary. You're probably too young for it, but when he said, "You, my young man, have cost me my job," when England didn't qualify for the 94 World Cup, he was like, "You, young man, have cost me my job." Literally, that referee's cost us £100 million.
And it's who we can sign, how we comply with the PSR rules, how we financially there's no end to it. But for even like I hate bringing things back to finances. From a footballing perspective, to be in the Champions League 2 years in a row, to be in the top 4 or the top 5 or whatever the hell it is, I can't stress what a bad call it was as well. Like, it's not that he thought it was a foul. I don't mind that he thinks it was a foul because it very plausibly could have been a foul, even though it wasn't. But why? What possessed you to blow your whistle before the move had finished? Just wait. Just wait. He's like we're going to say some really unsavory stuff, but he just has no patience. He can't. He's so excited at the idea of impacting the game. He does something absolutely mental, and I cannot believe it. I cannot believe that the game was potentially like if that hadn't have happened and we just got battered by United as we probably would have done had that incident not happened. At least you can say. Everything we said for the last 45 minutes, we just say, look, we were shit and it's not good enough and blah, blah. But the fact that really with 17 minutes to go in that game, we should have been 1-0 up. Oh, just a change in the atmosphere. It would have been party season. Knowing that Newcastle were 1-0 down and all we needed to do was not concede 2 goals in 17 minutes, the Villa end would have been rocking. The players would have been buoyed by it and they would have known. Someone would have told them, Newcastle are losing. Just all you need is a draw. Keep it tight. Keep it, and we would have it would have been 10 men in the box, 10 men, and it would have made such a fundamental difference to the way that the rest of that game was played. I don't care. Everyone will say, "Oh, well, you lost 2-0 anyway." So the fact that you didn't get one goal, but don't be dumb. That's for people who have never watched football before and don't understand the impact. There's a causality. There's a knock-on effect of us scoring there, and it's just I cannot. I don't know what action I want the Premier League to take or the PGMOL. They'll come out and they'll apologise and they'll say it was a mistake, but it's not enough. It's not enough because of what it's cost us. It's like if I ran your kid over in a car and then I came to you afterwards in earnest and I said to you, Rich, mate, I'm so sorry. Well, my kid's dead. And he's not going to bring it back. Take your sorry and shove it up your ass. Do you know what I mean? A season's dead because you fucked it up. Just pay attention. Pay attention next time and just hold onto your whistle for 2 seconds. Just see what's going to happen. Do you know? Did you look at the linesman? No. Did you see the foul? No. It's the same with the penalty. He blew it before he looked at the linesman. Fine, you could argue it was a penalty, but he didn't check. He just blew. And he was like, yeah, absolutely. Oh, yeah, it's a penalty. Dickhead, think about it. I've never heard of him before today, but I hate him now. I tell you what, it's the worst. It's just the worst.
think we might be getting demonetized on on this episode tonight, but it's worth it.
You know what?
It's worth it.
No one should benefit from today. We'll take the loss. You know what?
I know, we'll take it.
We'll make it up.
We'll take the L.
Come on,
we'll take the
I'll
L.
put a fiver in. We'll be fine.
Right. I think I was going to end it with.
Can we end on a positive note?
Yeah. Okay. LG does say he's from Sheffield. He's a Sheffield United fan.
Prick.
I need that to be confirmed or denied. But go on then. We'll try and end on a positive. I guess he's going to say sixth in the table, top six finish, quarterfinals of the Champions League, semi-finals of the FA Cup, the most wins in the season for Aston Villa under Emery as well, and Europa League next season is still still a still a good competition.
You don't even sound like you believe it.
I can't. I'm so annoyed with that performance. It's not even the Europa League. I'm fine with, right? I think it's a good competition. I think it's great that we've qualified for Europe 3 seasons in a row, and I will really enjoy it next season being in the Europa League. I think we're in pot 1 and all that sort of stuff. So Newcastle lost as well. Everton did us a favour. Everton beat Newcastle at St James's Park, and we couldn't do our job. All we needed was a point. We only needed a point. I can't.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is our positive end to the podcast. I mean, look,
Tuesday night. You finish it. Tuesday night, I might be able to do it on Fans Forum, but I can't. No, I can't.
No, I was trying to think of something. I almost have nothing but put it. The context with which we lost the game today makes it all the worse. The fact that Newcastle dropped points. Also, the fact that Rich lives in Newcastle. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. The fact that Rich lives in Newcastle is making this infinitely worse. I have like 4 friends who, thank you very much. Am I a guest? Oh, I like that. Am I a special guest?
You are a special guest.
Yeah, I've got 4 mates who are Newcastle fans, and they've not stopped texting me. I had someone send me over a welfare check over text just to make sure I was doing all right. It's the context. It's the context that hurts because we were so close. Like when you take the whole season into into perspective, it's been incredible. Like some of the moments that we've had. That even the win/loss against PSG, that the game where we managed to come back and almost pip them to it, that goal against Bayern Munich, beating, battering Spurs last time out, just all the wins, 17 games unbeaten at home in the Premier League. I've never seen a season like it, and luckily I'm a season ticket holder, so I've been able to see a lot of those. Unbeaten at home in Europe. In Europe next year, we still have Unai Emery. Whatever you think about his tactics, on and off the field, you have to remember Unai Emery is still human. He's still learning, and Unai Emery is doesn't strike me as the kind of guy who doesn't reflect, who doesn't analyze and address mistakes. Like that is his MO. That's who he is as a person. He analyzes and he addresses mistakes. And I think that we may have different opinions, but you do have to look at, I'm not saying we were in the Championship 6 years ago, but you have to look at what he's done to this club, and that under his tenure and under his leadership and guidance, we have achieved incredible things. And I don't care what anyone says, last day of the season, today, 74 minutes into our game, we were in the Champions League. We were 5th in the league. We were almost there. Fine. Things didn't go our way. The referee screwed us over. The players didn't turn up. Whatever it is, you have to sit back and appreciate what Aston Villa have done this season. Semi-final of Crystal Palace. And I think what is inarguable is the trajectory of this club, the constantly upward trajectory. Quarterfinal of the Champions League, semi-finals of the FA Cup. I wouldn't be surprised if next year we're in a final, or next year we win it, whether it's the Carabao Cup, whether it's the FA Cup. I have a mate who's a Newcastle fan. I have a mate who's a Palace fan. I've got loads of mates who are Spurs fans. All 3 of them have won trophies this season. And watching them win it has actually just made me realise that since 1996, when we won the League Cup, which I was alive for, but I was too young to really appreciate. I have never seen Villa win a major trophy in my life. And I really want that to end. And I genuinely believe that under this leadership model with Nassef and Wes Edens and Unai Emery and Monchi and Vidigani, I genuinely believe that whether we have a shit ton of money to go and buy an Asensio or a Rashford, or whether we're going to the Championship to find another Morgan Rogers, or to go find an Ian Matson, or do some dealings, wheelings and dealings, I believe that under this leadership and the confidence that I have in the club, we will continue to progress. But we do need to get over this little hump that Villa has, where we just, those big games, those big moments, that we're not quite up for it. As a club, we need to grow. And I think that this season is a massive step in that direction. So horrible, horrible day. So disappointing. Like, disappointing is barely even the word. But in the context of everything else, it's been a good season. And I'm really excited to see just how much we can spring on to next season, what else we can do.
Sam, a brilliant sum up. And I couldn't have put it better myself. So thank you very much. Sharik did do another $4.99 super chat, and I hope that in terms of what you've just said about the players, and hopefully building on that, and Unai learning, and hopefully some of the players using the experience of this season to improve their mentality, will hopefully help Sharik's views and comment there. But thank you so much for your super chats, everyone, and thank you for your sum up, Sam. That was perfect, and you have put me in a bit of a better mood, I have to say. And everyone in there in the comments again towards the end around about saying that it's cheered them up, I really appreciate that. And we've been good therapy, says Matt. Stephen said we've cheered him up. Patty says we've had a great therapy session thanks to me and you. So look, if that's what we're here for, that's great.
We do have to say that there were, just to clarify for the comments, no children were harmed in the making of this podcast. And for the final time from me this season, please God, someone buy Ollie Watkins in the summer.
Right, I am going to go off to bed and try and just have a nice couple of days. I think we'll be back sometime in the week for Fans Forum. We're obviously going to discuss the future for Villa, players that might come and go. So we will be discussing that. We'll also, I'm sure there'll be plenty of transfer links and rumours across next week as well. So I'll do a few transfer talk shows, I'm sure. So make sure you stay tuned to the channel. Thank you as well for everyone for all your support over the season. It has been incredible. So thank you everyone for your support in the chat, in the comments, over on X, on YouTube. Thank you so much for all your support this season. We hope to be back bigger and better next season as well. So make sure you stay with the channel. Thank you all for watching. And as always, please remember, we'll follow the Villa.